I mean, that's, it's really unbelievable. His loyal. Yes, yeah, no, I never imagined that we'd ever have a president like this, and I hope we don't ever have another president like this again. I never even imagined there would ever be a situation in which the president of our country was celebrating hundreds of Americans losing their jobs.
I mean, the reality is that the Republicans control the House, Senate, and the White House. And so everything that happens from this poor economy to terrible decisions around tariffs to the record number of farmers that are filing for bankruptcy to the illegal firings to the corruption as relates to persons like Tom Homan to the unreasonable prosecutions of those like James Comey. Let me be clear, there is only one person in one administration that this falls on. There's only one party that controls it all.
Donald Trump walks into a budget meeting acting like it's a store where he can ask for a refund. Yes, a refund for America's debt. Before he can even find a return policy, Jimmy Kimmel and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett show up. And they've got more receipts than the IRS. What happens next? Total chaos, but in the funniest way. It's like watching two sharpshooters walk into a circus, aim at the ringmaster, and pop every balloon of ego in the room. This isn't just politics. It's a full comedy show happening live.
We are coming to you from the no longer embattled city of Los Angeles. We are safe, we are sound, thanks to our president who saved us from ourselves by calling in the National Guard to stop a conflict that never started but could have had he not acted to prevent an entirely fabricated crisis from spinning out of his imagination and onto our streets. Thank you, Mr. President.
License when for the first time in the history of this country, we had a president that was concerned about immunity because he knows that he does not like to follow the law. He doesn't care about the law, yet he's claiming that he's sending in these troops illegally so that he can bring about law and order.
Jimmy Kimmel came in swinging. No warm-up, no slow start. He jumped right into tearing apart Trump's time as president, and wow, it hit hard. He went straight for Trump's biggest weakness, his giant ego. Trump always loves bragging. Even if he loses a golf game badly, he still says he's the best player ever. Kimmel made fun of that perfectly, saying if Trump's confidence could spread like a cold, America would call itself the most humble country in the world. It was funny, sharp, and a little too true.
Of the Trump government shutdown, there's been no progress of any kind. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees are working without pay, including air traffic controllers, which is insane. Why they don't have a special category for the people who keep the planes from crashing, I don't know, but this was the scene yesterday just over the hill from us in beautiful downtown Burbank.
We just spoke to air traffic controllers here at Burbank Airport in the last few minutes, and they can now confirm that they will be heading home at 4:15 this afternoon. As of 4:15 this afternoon, there will be no air traffic controllers inside of that tower right there.
But Kimmel wasn't just telling jokes. He was showing the truth behind Trump's obsession with fame and attention. Trump treats the government like a reality TV show, one where everyone claps, cries, and he gets to fire people. Kimmel said it best, Trump doesn't really lead. He just keeps auditioning for attention. Every laugh from the audience proved it. This presidency runs on likes and applause, not real results.
Thank you for sending troops to occupy all of these Democrat-run cities, whether we want them or not, and we do not. You know, after his big successes stopping nothing here and in Washington, Trump is sending the National Guard now into Portland and Chicago. He's sending the Texas National Guard into Chicago, all dressed in camouflage, by the way.
Then Kimmel got serious, but still funny. He talked about Trump's idea to stop paying workers during a government shutdown. Can you imagine that? A man living in a gold tower telling regular people they don't need their paychecks. Kimmel said that's something only a person without empathy would do. He didn't even have to exaggerate. The truth was already ridiculous. The president who talks about making America great can't even pay his workers.
Trump was asked today whether furloughed employees would get retroactive compensation once the shutdown's over, which is required by law. But, you know, the law can be a very ambiguous thing.
Isn't the White House position that only workers should be paid for their back pay?
I would say it depends on who we're talking about. I can tell you this, the Democrats have put a lot of people in great risk and jeopardy, but it really depends on who you're talking about. But for the most part, we're going to take care of our people. There are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of, and we'll take care of them in a different way.
Next, Kimmel made fun of Trump's war against the media. Trump always threatens to take away TV licenses when people say bad things about him. Kimmel compared it to a little kid trying to ban bedtime stories because he's not the main hero in them. Everyone laughed, but the point was serious. Freedom of speech isn't supposed to be a toy for one person's feelings. When a president tries to silence critics, democracy starts looking like a stage made only for his ego.
Illinois state and local officials strongly opposed troops being sent into the Windy City. President Trump responded to that by calling for the governor and mayor to be jailed. That's a normal thing for presidents to do, right? This campaign to own the libs and deport everybody with a vowel at the end of their name is the passion project of a sick, bald individual named Stephen Miller. He is Trump's deputy chief of staff, and he is doing everything he can to turn this country into a militarized zone.
While Kimmel was destroying Trump with jokes, Jasmine Crockett came in strong with pure truth bombs. Trump tried to insult her, but she didn't get mad. She got smart. She joked about how he can't pronounce names, how he stumbles on Air Force One, and how he acts strong but looks insecure. Then she said what many people think, but few say: Trump's whole leadership style is fake. He pretends to be tough, caring, and a winner, but it's all an act. Crockett called him an old white Nepo baby, which hits so hard because it's true. He didn't earn power, he inherited it.
She's right. Trump met at the White House today with the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney. This poor guy, Trump slapped a 35% tariff on Canada after claiming Canada is a significant source of migrants and fentanyl entering the United States. And now, in order to get relief from that tariff, Carney has to promise he'll cut off the flow of drugs coming over the Canadian border, which shouldn't be difficult because of all the fentanyl seized at the U.S. border last year, 0.2% of it came from Canada. So basically what Carney has to do is like convincing your toddler you got rid of the monster under his bed.
Crockett didn't stop at jokes. She called out all the lies behind Trump's words and actions. He says he's for law and order, but he's always in trouble himself. He brags about being a billionaire, but he's gone bankrupt many times. He calls himself a patriot, but mocks veterans and acts like the country is his brand. Crockett showed everyone that his tough guy act is just a mask. Together, she and Kimmel made the perfect team. He brought the laughs, she brought the truth. Comedy met honesty, and Trump's image fell apart. Kimmel mocked how Trump always praises himself, even when he's wrong. He said Trump could call the sky green, and when people say it's blue, he'd call them fake Americans. That's how far Trump's ego goes.
But the point of it that I try to make for a lot of people is that there are people that wanted to say, well, I'm not an immigrant, so that's not my problem, and they taking our jobs anyway, according to Trump, right? And so now we're seeing that, like, no, it is your problem. It is all of our problem because immigrants contribute to this country. Stop falling for the okie doke. Stop believing the lies that they are putting out there and the terrible racist tropes that they are constantly using to rile people up. It is time to recognize that while you thought the enemy was the immigrant, or you thought the enemy was the trans person, or you thought that the enemy was the black folk, or you thought the enemy were the women, when the reality is that the only person that is harming you right now, if you are struggling to make sure that you can pay your bills, if you're struggling to feed your family.
Then Crockett reminded everyone that behind all the jokes, real people are hurting. While Trump argues online, Americans suffer because of his bad decisions, government delays, unstable markets, and stress. She said being reckless isn't the same as being brave. When a president acts like a gambler who keeps losing, the whole country pays the price. Kimmel joked that if cheering could fix inflation, Trump's rallies would have saved the economy. Crockett pointed out his endless court cases, saying a president with more legal problems than cabinet meetings isn't really fit to lead. Her truth hit hard because it wasn't drama, it was fact.
So a couple of things here. I don't know that I'm as confident as they are. I do believe that this is a call to action for the American people, as you were just discussing how upset the American people are on both sides of the aisle. I think that this is a good opportunity for those Republicans that believe that transparency is paramount to go ahead and call their elected representatives. We've seen so many of the senators that have decided that they won't run for re-election because they understand that what Trump is doing overall is absolutely killing their opportunity to seek re-election. So some of these House members, they need to feel the pressure of their constituents.
The best part of their roast was how they mixed fun and truth together. Every joke taught a lesson. Kimmel's humor showed how silly Trump's behavior is, while Crockett's sharpness showed how dangerous it can be. Together, they made Trump's presidency look like a tragic comedy. He promised to drain the swamp, but filled it with gold-plated alligators. He calls himself a genius, but surrounds himself with people who only clap. Crockett explained how Trump plays the victim, the poor billionaire, who says everyone's against him. It's how he keeps his followers loyal. But Crockett broke that trick apart perfectly.
Every day he says something that would rank right at the top of the most ridiculous things any president has ever said. And the people who work for him, they can't get enough of it.
What a difference the presidency makes, Jesse, right? I mean, we are now totally over that destructive, stupid era of toxic masculinity. And now we're in an era of real masculinity, thanks to the bold, muscular leadership of President Trump and our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth.
It sounded better in the original North Korean, but you get the idea. You get bold and muscular leadership.
Kimmel then talked about how the world sees Trump. He said Trump is like a walking meme at world meetings. Other leaders don't respect him, they babysit him. He mixes up facts, misreads speeches, and even stared at the sun during an eclipse. Kimmel made everyone laugh, but the message was clear. Arrogance mixed with ignorance is dangerous. Crockett added that these mistakes hurt real people at home, farmers, workers, and small businesses. Then Kimmel joked that Trump treats every scandal like a TV reboot. Same show, new spin. He keeps trying to rebrand his failures. The only thing Trump has made great again is late-night comedy.
Not only is this incredibly dangerous and unnecessary, it's also just dumb. Trump is reported to be seriously considering invoking Insurrection Act, which is a law from 1807 that would allow him to use the military to enforce his rules. This guy can't keep his insurrection in his pants anymore. Trump and his buddies on the right-wing media are talking about Portland like it's a scene from The Last of Us, when the reality is, this is what these troops are being called in to stop.
Crockett finished strong. She said Trump's chaos should teach Americans an important lesson. Leadership isn't about being famous, it's about being responsible. The presidency isn't a stage for one man's ego. It's a job that needs honesty and care. But Trump avoids all that. Her words hit like the final line in a courtroom speech. Trump wanted attention, but he got roasted instead. Kimmel's jokes and Crockett's facts turned the spotlight into a truth light. What made it sting wasn't just laughter. It was that every joke was true. Comedy showed the real picture of a man hiding behind lies.
Republicans to sign off. I do believe that this is not political, and I do believe that it is a moral issue, because there is no way that you could hear anything that these survivors have said and feel like it's political. In fact, we know that a number of those survivors are actually Trump supporters, and they are so disappointed that he has now decided that this is nothing more than a Democratic hoax. Not to mention, we have the Speaker of the House sit and listen to these survivors in a closed hearing, or not a hearing, but a closed roundtable meeting, and then come out and say that the President of the United States was an informant that helped to take down.
By the end, you could just picture Trump watching all this, angry and trying to tweet a comeback. But no tweet can erase a good roast. Once comedians turn you into a punchline, it sticks forever. Kimmel and Crockett didn't just make fun of him. They changed how people challenge power. When someone builds their fame on lies, it only takes a few smart jokes to make it all fall down. Their mix of laughter and truth showed that humor is powerful. Trump can rewrite stories all he wants, but he can't rewrite reality. This roast wasn't just funny, it was history. It proved that laughter can defeat lies. Kimmel and Crockett reminded everyone that no matter how loud power gets, the truth always speaks louder.